The observation deck of the Galactic Combat Academy buzzed with nervous energy as Ambassador Krelix adjusted his sensory appendages. Below in the training arena, 23 Vexari cubs, apex predators from the warrior world of Vexari's prime, prowled in anticipation. Each cub stood nearly 4 feet tall despite their youth, their obsidian scales gleaming under the artificial lights, razor-sharp claws clicking against the metallic floor. "This is highly irregular," Krelix muttered to Commander Thrace, a crystalline being whose body refracted light in unsettling patterns. The selection ceremony has never included a human trainer before. Thrace's form shimmered with what might have been amusement. The council approved Leo Castellanos' application. His credentials are unusual but impressive. Impressive? Krelix's translator struggled with his incredulous tone. Humans are fragile. They lack natural weapons, armor, or even basic sensory enhancements. What could this Leo possibly offer our finest young warriors? On the arena floor, 5 trainers stood in a line. There was Gormath the Mighty, a 10-foot-tall Kryn whose 4 arms had crushed enemies across 12 star systems. Beside him stood Velshara, a Nexian assassin whose reputation preceded her like a shadow. Next came Thonvor, a cybernetically enhanced Martok bristling with visible weaponry. Fourth was Ambassador Krelix's own daughter, Syrax, a decorated commander who had requested this honor specifically, and at the end of the line stood Leo. He was unremarkable by galactic standards, a human male of average height and build, wearing simple combat fatigues. His brown hair was slightly too long and he carried no visible weapons. When he smiled at the cubs, several aliens in the observation deck made sounds of disbelief. "The human is smiling," an onlooker whispered. "Does he not understand that Vexari cubs have killed full-grown warriors before bonding?" Mia Chen, the human representative to the academy, leaned forward from her seat, her dark eyes fixed on Leo. She'd vouched for him personally, staking her reputation on this moment. The other ambassadors had called her reckless. They didn't understand humans the way she did. The selection ceremony began with traditional Vexari rites. The cubs, freed from their holding area, burst onto the arena floor with primal energy. They were magnificent, deadly grace wrapped in scales and fury, each one bred from champions, genetically perfected for combat. According to ancient custom, the cubs would choose their trainers. It was said that young Vexari possessed an instinct that could sense a warrior's true strength. Beyond mere physical appearance, Gormath the Mighty stepped forward first, roaring a challenge that shook the arena. It was an impressive display. 3 cubs approached him cautiously, drawn to his obvious power. Velshara moved next, demonstrating a series of strikes so fast they blurred. 4 cubs joined her, their eyes tracking her movements with predatory interest. Thonvor activated his weapon systems, a display of technological superiority. 2 cubs moved toward him. Syrax performed an elegant combat sequence, traditional Vexari forms executed with perfection. 5 cubs gathered near her. That left 9 cubs unclaimed. 9 of the strongest, most aggressive cubs, the ones who had held back, still evaluating. The arena fell silent. Leo didn't move forward like the others. Instead, he did something no one expected. He sat down, cross-legged on the cold arena floor. The human simply sat, his hands resting loosely on his knees. He wasn't tense. He wasn't postured for combat. He just was. "What is he doing?" Krelix demanded. "Is this human broken?" Mia smiled. "Watch." The largest cub, a massive female the handlers had nicknamed Scythe for her particularly lethal claws, approached Leo first. She moved low, predatory, circling him, her nostrils flared, sampling his scent. Leo remained perfectly still, but his eyes followed her movements, not with fear, but with calm attention. Scythe completed her circle and then did something that made the entire observation deck gasp. She sat down. Right in front of Leo, close enough that her breath stirred his hair. Then another cub approached. And another. One by one, all 9 remaining cubs moved toward the human. They didn't rush. They approached with a strange reverence, as if drawn by something the technological sensors couldn't measure. Within 3 minutes, all 9 cubs sat in a semicircle around Leo. Some were close enough to touch him. Scythe rested her enormous head on his knee. "This is impossible," Krelix breathed. Leo finally moved. Slowly, respectfully, he extended his hand and touched Scythe's scaled head. The cub, A creature that had injured 3 handlers just yesterday leaned into his touch with something that looked remarkably like contentment. How? Thrace's crystalline form flickered with confusion. Our sensors detect nothing special about him. No pheromones, no psychic abilities, no— That's because you're looking for the wrong things, Mia interrupted. She descended to the arena floor and the other ambassadors followed, too shocked to protest. As they approached, they could hear Leo speaking softly to the cubs. His voice was gentle, but there was something underneath it, something that made even the ambassadors unconsciously straighten their postures. "You're all so strong," Leo was saying, his hand moving from Scythe to another cub. "So powerful. You were born for greatness, weren't you? But power without control is just chaos. I can help you become what you're meant to be." "Ambassador Chen," Krellick said stiffly, "explain this." Mia knelt beside one of the cubs, which regarded her with curious eyes. "My species didn't evolve with natural weapons or armor. We're not the strongest or the fastest or the most deadly, but we survived." "Do you know how?" She looked up at the assembled aliens. "We learned to work with creatures more powerful than ourselves. For thousands of years before we reached the stars, we formed bonds with predators. We partnered with wolves and turned them into dogs. We befriended horses, falcons, even great cats. We have an instinct for it, for understanding predators, for earning their trust, for bringing out their best." Leo smiled as a cub nuzzled his shoulder. "These cubs don't just need someone who can fight. They need someone who understands pack bonds, trust, and mutual respect. Someone who knows that the strongest warriors aren't just the ones with the biggest weapons." Scythe made a sound, a deep rumbling that was part purr, part growl. Leo scratched behind her auditory ridge and she practically melted. "Humans tamed wolves," Mia continued. "We partnered with creatures that could kill us in seconds, and we turned them into our most loyal companions. Not through domination, but through understanding." Commander Thrace's form shimmered thoughtfully. "The cubs sense this? This compatibility? They sense someone who isn't afraid of them but respects them," Leo said. "Someone who sees them not as weapons to be wielded, but as individuals to be guided." One of the smaller cubs climbed directly into Leo's lap, which would have been alarming if the creature wasn't purring like an oversized kitten. Leo adjusted his position to accommodate the cub's weight, probably 150 pounds of muscle and claws without any sign of discomfort. Krellick watched in stunned silence as the human who had no natural weapons, no armor, no cybernetic enhancements, sat surrounded by the galaxy's most dangerous young predators, all of them calm. All of them choosing him. Humans, Mia said with quiet pride, have always had a gift for making the deadliest creatures in the universe into our best friends. Leo looked up at the assembled ambassadors and grinned, that same unremarkable human smile. "So," he said, "when do we start training?" "The end."